Only a town of 100 people, Huacachina and the surrounding sand dunes are visited by thousands of tourists each year. But before we're able to enjoy the adrenaline found here, we gotta fly over there first. So in June 2023, I caught a flight deal for November 2023 to go to Peru using the email newsletter Going. The flight was from Milwaukee to Atlanta, Atlanta to Lima. Peru has been on my bucket list for a long time as I've been learning Spanish since I was a kid. And there are so many things to do in Peru, but because there's so much to do, I did not have a lot of time in Lima and decided to skip the city for now and go to the sand dunes instead. I also could not get money out upon arrival, and I was so tired because I had a late flight. Plus the wake up time was super early, which I learned later was normal for Peru adventures. But regardless, I booked a full day trip to Paracas, Inca, and Huacachina through Airbnb experiences. So come with me to see what all the hype is about.
The Paracas beer, and I recommend you to apply to yourself right now.
The first stop on the day trip was to Paracas, which is a wildlife-rich area of Peru along the coast. They're known for their sea lions and penguins, and I even met another fellow Black solo female traveler from Johannesburg, South Africa, and we got to enjoy the sights together as we were in the boat with the rest of the tourists. This area is called the Islas Ballestas, and I recommend you taking the boat tour during your trip to Paracas/Huacachina. As someone who loves sweet treats, one of my favorite things is to try the local delicacies, and after our boat ride, we got to try some Peruvian chocolate.
Oh, I love chocolate. It's real good.
Delicious.
We did one more stop for lunch because up next was going sandboarding.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's so hot.
Woo!
That's some heat. Milwaukee doesn't have it.
Not at all.
Oh my god. I've never seen anything like this.
No, this is massive. Goes or you goes for the socks. I am in Peru and we are in Huacachina, which are the sand dunes. I am barefoot right now, but I'm really excited. It's been on my bucket list for a very long time. We had a nice morning, a nice boat ride, some lunch, met some solo travelers who are also on this tour, and I'm out of breath. But we are about to go sandboarding.
In order to get to the sand dunes, you will be sandboarding. You have to take a dune buggy, which I was super pumped for. Also a little nervous because I forgot my sunglasses, so I didn't know how the sand was going to respond to my face, but I'll just let y'all hear and see for yourselves.
There we are. Okay, we got our boards. We are in the sand. Oh my gosh. Oh. About to go sandboarding.
As you can see and hear, I really enjoyed doing the sandboarding. I was a bit nervous once I got up there because it did seem a lot steeper and longer than it actually was. But going to Huacachina, which is the largest sand dune in South America, was a bucket list experience for sure. So always, when you can, say yes to adventure. One confusing part of the day was whether or not we were going to a winery, but we ended up at a wine tasting on the side of the road, so I guess that counts.
Hello. If you made it this far in the vlog, you made it to the part where I realized I did not share all the tips I wanted to about what it takes to go to Huacachina for a day trip from Lima. So here are some tips and advice I have for y'all. I did put it on my iPad, so I'm going to kind of read off some things that I thought about after this trip that I think is really important for you to know if you want to go to Huacachina as a solo traveler or take this tour on your trip to Peru. So the first thing you should know about this trip is that it is a very long day. It was almost like 10 hours, I think, but I was up like really early. I think by like 5 or 6 in the morning. As you saw, we did do a breakfast stop, but if you are super hungry, you definitely want to bring snacks to enjoy during this day trip from Lima. I also recommend that you sleep in the car. I am really big on napping. I love a good nap. And when I sleep, I am out. I can sleep anywhere, honestly, like a rock. So if you are someone who needs some sleep, I recommend sleeping in between each place. So there was definitely at least like a 30-minute window between each place, maybe a little more, especially towards the end going back to Lima. It's about 4 hours from Huacachina, so you can get a nice little rest in if you want to go out in Lima that night. But I do recommend maximizing those in between times to take a nap or a rest, or don't force yourself to be social on the trip. Even though everyone on my tour was super nice, like really friendly and welcoming, I was very exhausted and I was already tired coming into the tour. So be sure to take advantage of those cat nap times. Another tip to know is that you really do need cash. For some reason, I did not go to an ATM before this because I thought I would have time or would find one near my hostel the day of the tour, and that did not happen. So I did not have any cash, and there were definitely some things I would have grabbed if I had cash. For one, a bandana. Now my tour guide graciously bought my bandana for me. They texted me after the tour and I was able to pay him back for that, but I don't want to put that burden on my tour guide. It was super unintentional, but I do recommend having cash on you so you can pay for your bandana to go down the sand dune. Also, if you want sunglasses, I did not have any for some reason. Again, I was not thinking, and I have a clear head. I was super tired and forgot them in my hostel room in Selena, so I forgot my sunglasses, but I will also recommend bringing those just because the sand can go in your face, all over your face. So it's not just this part where your mouth is that you need to stay covered. You also want to cover your eyes. So I recommend bringing your sunglasses and bringing a bandana, or you can opt to pay for one. So right after we got out of the shuttle van, there were people who flooded the van, obviously knowing that tourists like me were going to forget their sunglasses and bandanas, and were offering, you know, hey, this costs like maybe a few soles. It was really inexpensive. So you can also do that if you don't have a bandana. Also, one thing you may want to consider bringing are flip-flops. Now, I didn't mind doing the sand duning in my socks. Honestly, it was fine. I just dumped the sand out once we were done. But if you don't want to do that and it may make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, our tour guide did say you could use flip-flops. So you have an old pair of flip-flops that you're comfortable walking in, because the sand is very difficult to walk in with shoes. He was definitely right about that. You can use flip-flop. And my last tip is to read the fine print of your tours. Myself and the other guests were a bit confused because technically we were supposed to go to a winery and they said it was closed, which is fine. You know, if it's closed, it's closed. However, like, we weren't notified of that until the very end of the tour, and it would have been nice to kind of know that information up front, because I may have went with another place that we did go to the winery to see. Also, I don't like that they told us at the end and also didn't offer a discount, because like, what part did we pay for that we did not experience, you know? And at the end of the day, it was still a great trip. I still enjoyed the tour, and we did do a little off the cuff, like the little place on the street where we tried all the wines, which was pretty cool, to be honest. It felt maybe a bit more authentic, but I do feel like they should have told us ahead of time that the winery was closed, because we were all kind of looking forward to that part toward the end of the tour. However, I will also say that there were people who got lost on our tour. So I also don't know if they just told us it was closed because we didn't have time to go at that point, because we did wait a little bit for some people who, I don't know what they were doing. I really don't know, but they just disappeared. A lot of unknowns, but regardless, read the fine print of what's included in your tour and ask them like, hey, is all this happening today? Just to make sure, because you don't want to miss out on anything. And I do plan on going back to Lima at some point because I would like to explore more of Lima, which I was not able to do on this trip. So maybe I'll go back to Huacachina and have the nice winery experience. And I'll link the tour that I did on Airbnb Experiences in the description box below. And of course, I do have a guide. So if you are a solo traveler or just someone visiting Peru watching this video, I do have a full free guide of all the things that I did, all my recommendations, all the links on my solo trip to Peru. And I will put that in the description box below for you to read and plan your own fun, outdoorsy, foodie adventure in Peru. Okay, and my last tip is to make sure you have an action camera with an attachment. So I do have a GoPro Hero 9 that I've had for a few years now, and I did bring it, but I did not bring the right strap in order to capture me going down the sand dune in Huacachina. So I do have a chesty that I actually used on an upcoming vlog on my Rainbow Mountain ATV tour, which was super cool. Can't wait to share that with you all. However, I didn't really use it on the Huacachina trip because it didn't make sense with my chest. So maybe I could have gotten creative to put it somewhere else. But if you do have a GoPro, I would recommend getting maybe a head mount or something, or a head strap, in order to capture you going down. Thankfully, there was somebody on the tour who could get it from like afar, but it would have been really funny to hear my screaming and whatnot, because I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you stay tuned for all of the other Peruvian adventures I have up my sleeve. It was a wonderful trip, and I'm so excited to share it with you all. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious. Bye. I cannot believe I hiked to see Machu Picchu in my lifetime.